The council chamber stretched wide and tall, built to make smaller species feel insignificant. Wu had walked these halls for 15 years, and he had never once felt welcome. Today would be his last time here, though the other delegates did not know it yet. The assembled representatives from 47 species sat in their designated sections, arranged by influence and power. Humanity occupied the lowest tier, near the back, where the air recyclers hummed loudest. It had always been this way. The council had made their position clear from the moment humanity had discovered faster-than-light travel and stumbled into galactic civilization. Councillor Vex of the collective rose to speak, his 3 eyes gleaming with satisfaction. His species had dominated council politics for 2 centuries. "The human delegation will approach," he announced, his voice amplified through the chamber. Wu stood and walked down the long aisle. His footsteps echoed in the silence. Every eye followed him, some with contempt, others with indifference, none with respect. "Ambassador Wu," Vex began, reading from a data tablet. "The Council has reviewed human activities in the past cycle. We have determined that additional oversight is required." Here it comes, Wu thought. Another list of restrictions disguised as regulations. Vex continued. "First, all human trade vessels will now pay a 30% tariff on goods transported through Council space. Second, human colonies are restricted to systems with Class C ratings or lower. Third, all human military vessels must transmit their locations to Council monitoring stations every 6 hours. Fourth, humanity will increase its annual tribute to the Council Defense Fund by 40%. Murmurs of approval rippled through the chamber. The representative clicked his mandibles in amusement. The delegate nodded her serpentine head. "Furthermore," Vex said, his voice rising, "all humans will submit to genetic registration. We must ensure your species does not pose a biological threat to the wider galactic community." That last demand brought smiles to many faces. Genetic registration meant Council scientists could track every human in the galaxy. It meant Bobbies would be registered before birth. It meant humanity would exist under permanent surveillance. Wu had expected this. Earth's intelligence services had intercepted the draft proposal 3 weeks ago. The Council saw humanity as useful servants, nothing more. Humanity built their stations, repaired their equipment, and designed their technology, but they would never be equals. "Does the human delegation accept these terms?" Vex asked. The chamber fell silent. They expected protest. They expected Wu to beg for reduced tariffs or delayed implementation. They expected him to negotiate like he had done 100 times before. Instead, Wu reached into his jacket and pulled out a small data chip. He walked to the central podium and placed it down gently. The soft click echoed through the chamber. "This chip contains humanity's formal withdrawal from the Galactic Council," Wu said. His voice was calm and quiet. "Effective immediately, all treaties, agreements, and contracts between humanity and Council species are terminated. We will no longer participate in Council affairs. We will no longer pay tribute. We will no longer accept your restrictions." Shock rippled through the chamber. Vex's 3 eyes widened. The representative's mandibles stopped clicking. Even the usually calm delegate straightened in her seat. "You cannot withdraw," Vex sputtered. "The Council Charter does not allow unilateral departure." "Then change the Charter," Wu replied. "Humanity never agreed to permanent membership. We joined as equals. You treated us as subjects. We are leaving." He turned and walked back down the aisle. No one spoke. No one moved to stop him. "This is unacceptable," Vex shouted. "There will be consequences, economic sanctions, military response." Wu paused at the chamber door. He looked back at the assembled delegates. "You are welcome to try," he said. Then he left. Within an hour, the news spread across every human station, colony, and vessel in Council space. The message was simple and clear. Pack up. Go home. Do it quietly. On Station Delta 7, human merchants closed their shops and transferred their inventory to waiting ships. They did not explain why. They did not argue with confused alien customers. They simply left. In the medical centers, human doctors and nurses finished their shifts and resigned. They deleted their research files, wiped their workstations, and departed on shuttles bound for human space. On the Quantum Gate network spanning the trade routes, human maintenance crews completed their current tasks, logged out of the systems, and boarded transport vessels. They left behind instruction manuals and training videos, but those would prove insufficient. The hegemony operated 17 shipyards that produced military vessels. 12 of those yards were designed by human engineers. When the engineers left, they took their expertise with them. The yards could still function, but without humans to troubleshoot problems, efficiency dropped immediately. Council security forces tried to stop the exodus at first. At Station 9, soldiers attempted to prevent human civilians from boarding their ships. The humans did not resist. They simply waited. When the commander contacted his superiors for orders, he was told to let them go. The council had not yet decided how to respond. On Earth, the Parliament met in emergency session. Prime Minister Young addressed the gathered representatives. "The council has given us no choice," she said. "For 50 years we have tried to work within their system. We built their infrastructure. We shared our technology. We paid their tribute. And still, they treated us like children who needed supervision." She paused, looking at the faces before her. "Our ancestors crossed oceans in wooden ships to find new lands. They crossed space itself to reach other worlds. We will not bow to aliens who mistake our patience for weakness. We are leaving their council. We will build our own future." The vote was unanimous. In the council chambers, Vex assembled an emergency session. Representatives arrived in various states of confusion and anger. The delegate demanded immediate military action. The representative urged caution. The delegate suggested negotiations. "They are bluffing," Vex declared. "Humanity depends on council trade. They depend on our protection. They will come crawling back within a month, begging to return. And when they do, we will impose even harsher terms." Not everyone agreed. A representative named one from a smaller species called the Stood to speak. "With respect, Counselor, I think we should examine what humanity actually does for us. My people's medical centers rely heavily on human pharmaceutical technology. If they truly withdraw all support—" "Then we will find alternatives," Vex interrupted. "There are 46 other species in this council. Humanity is not irreplaceable." One sat down, but worry showed on her face. 3 days after Wu's departure, the last human vessel left council space. There had been no violence, no dramatic confrontations. The humans simply packed their belongings and went home. The council declared it a minor inconvenience. They would adapt. They would find new engineers and doctors and technicians. They had no idea what was coming. 3 months had passed since the humans left. The council had barely noticed at first. Life continued as normal. Ships traveled between systems. Trade continued. The government functioned. Then the medical centers started reporting problems. One stood in the largest hospital on her, watching doctors try to save dying patients. The plague had returned. It came every 20 years like clockwork, a disease that evolved too quickly for normal vaccines. Only human pharmaceutical technology could keep pace with the mutations. "How many do we have left?" one asked the head physician. The doctor checked his. 17 doses. We need 17,000. "Can we make more?" "We have tried. The formula requires a synthesis process we do not fully understand. The humans taught us the basic steps, but there are variables they adjusted in real time. Without their expertise, our attempts produce inactive compounds." One felt cold. "How long until the stockpile runs out?" 4 days, maybe 5 if we ration carefully. She left the hospital and returned to her government office. Her aide was waiting with more bad news. "Counselor, the water purification plants are experiencing failures. The technicians say the human-designed filtration systems are malfunctioning. They cannot repair them." "What do you mean they cannot repair them?" "The systems are too complex. The humans maintain them remotely through the network. Now that connection is severed. Local technicians lack the training." One sat down heavily. Her species numbered 8 billion across 4 worlds. All of them depended on those water systems. Find someone who can fix them. Pay whatever is necessary. "We have tried, Counselor. Other species face similar problems. There are not enough qualified technicians available, and those who are available charge prices we cannot afford." That evening, one composed a message to humanity's last known diplomatic channel. She explained her people's situation. She asked for help. She offered payment, trade agreements, anything humanity wanted. The response came 3 days later, an automated message. "All commercial and governmental contracts with Galactic Council species have been terminated per the withdrawal agreement. Humanity is not accepting new contracts at this time. This is an automated response. Do not reply." The plague killed 3 million before it ran its course. On the trade worlds, the situation was different but equally dire. The Quantum Gate network had been the pride of their civilization. 17 gates connected their most important systems, enabling instant travel across vast distances. Humanity had built and maintained 12 of those gates. Without human engineers, the gates began failing. It started small, longer connection times, occasional dropouts, minor power fluctuations. The technicians tried to fix the problems using the manuals humans had left behind. They followed every instruction precisely. But the manuals only covered routine maintenance. When a gate's quantum entanglement matrix destabilized, the manual said to contact human technical support for advanced diagnostics. There was no human technical support anymore. The first gate failed completely on week 14. The Bessel Gate, connecting 2 industrial worlds, simply stopped working. Ships that were in transit disappeared. 30,000 citizens gone in an instant. Not dead, the scientists said. Probably. They were lost somewhere in quantum space. Maybe they could be recovered if someone could repair the gate. No one could repair the gate. The government shut down 3 more gates as a precaution. That left only 2 functioning gates, and both showed worrying signs of instability. Their empire, which had spanned 17 systems, was suddenly cut into isolated fragments. Trade routes that took days using the gates now took months using conventional faster-than-light travel. Goods piled up in warehouses. Ships could not move them fast enough. Prices skyrocketed. Shortages spread. In the council chambers, representatives gathered for an emergency session. The mood was different now. The arrogance was gone. Fear had replaced it. "The humans did this deliberately," Vex insisted. He looked thinner than before, his 3 eyes dimmer. "They sabotaged these systems before they left." "There is no evidence of sabotage," a representative replied. "Our investigation found no tampering. The systems are simply failing because we lack the expertise to maintain them properly." "Then we will develop that expertise. We will train new engineers." "That will take years, possibly decades. The quantum gate technology alone requires mastery of 7 different fields of physics. Humanity developed that knowledge over 2 centuries. We cannot replace it in months." Dove the species stood to speak. She was older than most representatives, her silver scales showing her age. "I propose we send a formal delegation to human space. We will apologize for our past treatment. We will negotiate a new relationship based on equality and mutual respect." Vex slammed his appendage on the desk. "Absolutely not. The Council does not apologize. We do not beg. If humanity wants to play this game, we will show them the consequences of defying the Council." What consequences? Da asked quietly. We are the ones suffering, our people are dying, our infrastructure is collapsing, humanity seems fine. That was the truth no one wanted to acknowledge. Intelligence reports from human space showed thriving colonies, expanding trade networks, new construction projects. The humans had left Council space and immediately prospered. The hegemony took Vex's position seriously. They assembled a military fleet and sent it to the nearest human colony with a simple message: resume your maintenance contracts or face the consequences. The fleet consisted of 23 warships, the largest military force the hegemony could spare. They arrived at the human colony of New Sol expecting quick compliance. The colony ignored their hails. The commander issued an ultimatum: comply within 24 hours or we will open fire. Still no response. 24 hours passed. The fleet moved into attack position. They locked weapons on the colony's defensive satellites. Then every system on every ship shut down simultaneously. Weapons offline, engines offline, life support running on emergency backup. The ships drifted helplessly in space. A human voice came over the communication channel. Vessels, you are experiencing a cascade failure of your primary systems. This is because 70% of your shipboard technology was designed or manufactured by humans. We installed remote shutdown capabilities as a security measure. Your vessels are no longer functional. The commander tried to respond, but his communication system was dead. The human voice continued. Shuttles are approaching to evacuate your crews. You will be given transport back to space. Your ships will be towed to the system's edge and abandoned there. Consider this a lesson. Humanity does not respond well to threats. The crews were rescued, returned home in borrowed human shuttles, and forced to watch their fleet drift away into empty space. The hegemony's military power was reduced by nearly a quarter in a single day. News of the incident spread quickly. Other species reconsidered their plans to pressure humanity. Back in the council chambers, the arguments grew more desperate. Some species wanted to declare war, others wanted to negotiate. A few smaller species announced they were leaving the council to seek independent agreements with humanity. Da watched the chaos and felt old. She had served on the council for 40 years. She had seen it grow powerful and wealthy. She had also seen it grow arrogant. We are dying, she said during one session, her voice cutting through the arguments. Not quickly, not dramatically, but we are dying. Every day more systems fail, more people suffer, more of our civilization crumbles. And why? Because we treated our most valuable partners like servants. We gave humanity everything, Vex shouted. We allowed them to join the council, we shared our knowledge, we protected them. We took more than we gave, Da replied. We took their innovations and claimed credit. We took their labor and paid poorly. We took their patience and returned contempt. Now they are gone and we are learning what we lost. She left the chamber. Others followed her. The council was breaking apart. In human space, Ambassador Wu received daily reports of council troubles. He felt no satisfaction, only sadness that it had come to this. They still do not understand, he told his staff. They think we left out of spite. They do not realize we left to survive. Staying meant accepting permanent subjugation. Leaving meant freedom. His assistant asked, will we ever return? Wu looked at the star charts showing human colonies spreading in new directions, away from council space. No, he said. We are building something better now, something where humanity stands as an equal. The council had their chance. They made their choice. Now they live with it. 6 months after humanity's departure, the Galactic Council met in a chamber that felt too large for the representatives who remained. 12 species had already withdrawn from the council, seeking their own arrangements with humanity or simply trying to survive independently. The once proud assembly of 47 species now numbered 35, and more departures seemed likely. Da walked to the central podium. As senior counselor, she had called this emergency session. Around her, desperate faces looked for solutions that did not exist. "We must face reality," she began. "Our civilization is collapsing, not from war, not from plague, from simple neglect. We neglected to value those who built our infrastructure. Now that infrastructure is failing and we cannot fix it." Vex rose from his seat, though he looked diminished now. His species faced food shortages as human-designed agricultural systems malfunctioned. "I propose we send a formal apology to humanity and request their return to the Council." "A proposal from you, Vex." They could not hide her surprise. 3 months ago, you wanted to declare war on them." 3 months ago, I did not understand the scope of the problem. Vex's 3 eyes looked tired. "I thought we could replace human expertise quickly. I was wrong. We need them back." A representative stood. His species had suffered most from the military humiliation at New Seoul. "I second this proposal. Pride is worthless when our people starve." The vote was called. It passed with 32 in favor, none opposed, 3 abstaining. Da was chosen to lead the delegation. She spent a week preparing, gathering data on council needs, formulating offers. Humanity would be given full council voting rights, equal status, no restrictions, no tribute, whatever they wanted. But another faction in the council had different ideas. The collective, Vex's species, had been working secretly on a different approach. If humanity would not help willingly, perhaps they could be forced. The collective scientists had been studying human technology intensively, trying to reverse engineer what the humans had built. They had failed mostly, but they had succeeded in one area. They had cracked the communication codes humanity used. They could not build new quantum gates, but they could potentially hack into existing human systems. "Why beg when we can take?" the lead scientist told Vex in a private meeting. "We access their systems, copy their technical data, and use it ourselves. They never need to know." Vex hesitated. "If we are caught, there will be consequences." "What consequences? They are already gone. What more can they do?" It was flawed logic, but Vex was desperate. He approved the operation. While Da prepared her diplomatic mission, hackers launched a massive cyber intrusion into human networks. They targeted technical databases, engineering files, medical research, anything that could help the Council survive without human cooperation. The intrusion was detected within minutes. In human space, Security Officer Min-ho watched the alerts flash across his screens. Dozens of unauthorized access attempts, all originating from Council space. The hackers were good, but not good enough. Human cybersecurity had improved significantly since the withdrawal. "They are trying to steal our data," Min-ho reported to his superiors. "Should we block them?" "Let them in," came the reply from Admiral Young, humanity's chief of defense. "Let them think they are succeeding. I want to see what they take." The hackers broke through human firewalls, celebrating their apparent success. They downloaded terabytes of technical information, blueprints for quantum gates, medical formulas, agricultural techniques, everything the Council needed. Min-ho watched them take it all. Then he activated the second phase of human security protocols. Every file the hackers had stolen contained hidden code. Not a virus exactly, more like a timer. The stolen information would work perfectly for 30 days, then it would fail catastrophically. "They will learn," Admiral Young said, watching the data flow out of human networks. "You cannot steal expertise. You can only copy information, and information without understanding is worthless." Da departed for human space, unaware of the operation. She traveled in a small diplomatic vessel with a crew of 5. No weapons, no military escort. She wanted to show humanity that her mission came in peace. The journey took 2 weeks. When she finally reached the edge of human territory, she broadcast her request for an audience. She expected delays, bureaucratic runarounds, maybe even rejection. Instead, she received an immediate response. Ambassador Duh, you are cleared to proceed to Station Tajin. Ambassador Ho will meet with you there. The efficiency surprised her. So did the station itself when she arrived. Tajin Station orbited a blue-white star, a massive construction of metal and light. It was new, built entirely after humanity's withdrawal. Hundreds of ships moved around it, and the docks bustled with activity. This was not the struggling, isolated civilization she had expected. This was prosperity. Ho met her at the docking port. He was younger than she expected, perhaps 40 standard years. He wore simple clothing and offered a formal bow of greeting. Counselor Duh, welcome to human space. I understand you wish to discuss the Council's situation. She returned the bow. Yes. The Council wishes to apologize for its past treatment of humanity. We recognize that we were unfair, unjust, and short-sighted. We ask for a chance to rebuild our relationship on better terms. Ho led her to a conference room with wide windows showing the station exterior. Please sit. Can I offer you refreshment? No, thank you, Ambassador Ho. I will be direct. The Council is dying. Our infrastructure fails more each day. Our people suffer. We need help. And you offer what in return? Full membership status, equal voting rights, no restrictions or tribute, access to Council trade networks and resources, whatever humanity requires. Ho was quiet for a moment. Counselor, may I be equally direct? Please. Humanity does not want to rejoin the Council. We left for good reasons. Those reasons have not changed. Da felt her hope crumbling. Then what can we offer? Name your terms, we will meet them. It is not about terms, Ho said gently. It is about philosophy. The Council was built on hierarchy. Some species matter more than others. Some have power, others serve. Humanity does not fit into that structure. We tried for 50 years. It did not work. We can change. We are willing to reform. Can you? Ho interrupted. Can the collective accept thee as equals? Can the hegemony treat smaller species with respect? Can species that have dominated for centuries suddenly share power? Da had no answer. She knew the truth. Real change would require decades, maybe centuries. The Council's power structures ran deep. I see, she said quietly. Then there is no hope. I did not say that. Ho pulled up a holographic display. It showed star charts but not of Council space. Humanity is building a new alliance. We call it the Commonwealth. Membership is open to any species that accepts our founding principles: equality, mutual respect, and shared prosperity. Several former Council species have already joined. The 12 who, Da realized. Yes, they were suffering like you. We offered partnership instead of dominance. They accepted. And the Council species who remain. They may apply for Commonwealth membership individually. We will evaluate each application, but we will not engage with the Council itself. That institution is broken beyond repair. Da looked out the window at the busy station. You planned this, all of it. The withdrawal was not impulsive. You prepared for years. Ho nodded. 20 years. We saw where the Council was heading. We knew we would eventually need to leave, so we prepared. We built dependencies into every system we created for the Council. We trained our people in self-sufficiency. We scouted new territories. When the time came, we were ready. That seems cruel. Was it cruel, or was it necessary? The Council would never have treated us as equals while we were weak, so we made ourselves strong. Then we left. No violence, no war. We simply stopped serving masters who did not value us. Da felt very old and very tired. What happens to those of us who remain in the Council? You survive or you do not. That is your choice to make. Ho's voice softened. I am sorry, Counselor. I know this is hard to hear, but humanity cannot save you. We can only offer you a different path. Commonwealth membership. For individual species, yes, But not for you personally, I think. You are too loyal to the Council. You will stay and try to hold it together as long as you can." He was right. De knew she would return and keep fighting for the Council's survival, even knowing it was probably futile. Ho handed her a data chip. "This contains basic technical information. It will not solve all your problems, but it might help some of your people survive. Consider it a gift from one diplomat to another." De accepted the chip. "Thank you." As her ship departed human space, she looked back at Tajin Station, gleaming in the starlight. Somewhere in Council space, the hackers were celebrating their stolen data, not knowing it would soon turn to poison. Somewhere else, Vex was planning new strategies that would fail. The Council had built its civilization on the backs of those it considered inferior. Now those same hands had withdrawn their support, and the whole structure was collapsing. Humanity had not destroyed the Council. They had simply stopped holding it up. 1 year had passed since the humans left. The Galactic Council existed in name only. 17 species remained, down from the original 47. The rest had either joined humanity's Commonwealth or simply dissolved into isolated territories. The Council chamber was nearly empty during sessions. Representatives who did attend spent more time arguing about survival than governance. The mighty collective was requesting food aid from smaller species. The hegemony had lost half its military and could barely maintain order in its own systems. The trade empire had collapsed entirely. And then humanity sent a message. It arrived on all Council communication channels simultaneously. Not a request for dialogue, not a negotiation, simply an announcement that a human vessel would arrive at the Council's primary station in 3 days to deliver a statement. Vex, now looking gaunt and aged, called an emergency assembly. "They are coming back," he said, hope flickering in his 3 eyes. "Perhaps they have reconsidered. Perhaps they will help us after all." Da, seated in her usual place, said nothing. She knew better. She had met with Ambassador Ho. She understood that humanity had moved on. This message was something else. The human ship arrived exactly on schedule. It was a sleek vessel, newer than anything in the Council fleet. It docked at the station without requesting permission, and a single human officer walked through the airlock. Captain Min wore the uniform of the Commonwealth Navy. She was young, perhaps 30, with the confident bearing of someone who represented a thriving civilization. She entered the Council chamber like she owned it. "I am Captain Min of the Commonwealth vessel. I bring a message from the human government." Vex leaned forward. "Captain, we are pleased you have come, if humanity is willing to discuss reconciliation." "I am not here to discuss anything," Min interrupted. "I am here to deliver a statement. You will listen, then I will leave." The bluntness shocked the assembled representatives, but no one protested. They needed to hear what humanity had to say. Min activated a holographic display. It showed star charts, economic data, technical schematics. "For the past year, the Council has been attempting to understand why your infrastructure is failing. You have blamed faulty equipment, poor maintenance, bad luck. You have not admitted the truth." She changed the display to show a timeline. 50 years ago, humanity joined the Galactic Council. We were excited. We thought we had found partners in exploring the galaxy. Instead, we found a hierarchy that treated us as servants. We tried to accept it. We thought maybe we needed to prove ourselves, so we worked harder. We built better technology. We solved problems others could not. And what did we receive? More restrictions, more tribute, more contempt. The display changed again, showing contract after contract. 20 years ago, we realized the truth. The Council would never treat us as equals, so we began planning our departure. Every system we built for the Council after that date included dependencies, not sabotage, dependencies. A representative spoke up. "What is the difference?" "Sabotage means deliberately breaking something. Dependencies means building something that requires ongoing expertise to maintain. Your quantum gates do not malfunction because we damaged them. They malfunction because you do not understand how they work. Min pulled up more data. The pharmaceutical synthesizers that create vaccines, the water purification networks, the agricultural systems, the power grids, all of them work perfectly when maintained by people who understand them. The problem is, you do not have those people. You could have taught us properly, Vex said, his voice bitter. We tried. For 30 years we trained council technicians. We created detailed manuals. We offered educational programs. But there is a difference between teaching someone to follow instructions and teaching them to understand principles. You wanted the first. We offered the second. You chose to learn only enough to operate our technology, not to master it. A representative stood angrily. So this was deliberate. You intentionally made systems we could not maintain. No, Min said firmly. We made systems that required intelligence and education to maintain. We assumed you would develop that intelligence and education. We assumed wrongly. She changed the display to show the hacking attempt. 6 months ago, the collective attempted to steal our technical data. They succeeded. They downloaded everything they wanted. Did that help you, Counselor Vex? Vex's 3 eyes widened. The scientists had assured him their theft was undetected. Apparently not. The stolen data worked perfectly for 30 days, Min continued. Then it failed. Not because we sabotaged it, because the data was incomplete. You stole the formulas but not the understanding. You the blueprints but not the principles. Technology is not magic. You cannot simply steal it and expect it to work. She deactivated the display and looked directly at the assembled representatives. Humanity left the council because staying meant accepting permanent inferiority. We chose freedom over servitude. Since leaving, we have prospered. We have expanded to new territories. We have formed the Commonwealth with species who value cooperation over domination. Meanwhile, the council is collapsing, not because humanity destroyed it, because it was built on an unsustainable foundation. You created a civilization where some species ruled and others served. When those who served decided to leave, the whole structure fell apart. De stood slowly. Captain Min, we understand our mistakes, some of us at least. Is there nothing we can do to repair this damage? Min's expression softened slightly. Counselor Duh, Ambassador Ho spoke highly of you. He said you were one of the few council members who treated humans with respect. That is kind of him to say. He also said you would stay loyal to the council even as it died. Was he right? De hesitated. The council is flawed, perhaps fatally so, but it also represents thousands of years of cooperation between species. I cannot simply abandon that legacy. Even when that legacy was built on inequality. Even then, because some of us are trying to change it. Min nodded. Then I respect your choice, even if I think it is futile. She pulled out a data storage device. This contains updated technical information, more detailed than what Ambassador Ho gave you. It will not solve all your problems, but it should help stabilize some critical systems. She placed the device on the central podium. Consider it a final gift from humanity to the Galactic Council. We do not do this because we owe you anything. We do this because some of your people do not deserve to suffer for their leaders' mistakes. Vex reached for the device. This is genuine, not another trap. It is genuine. Use it wisely. You will not receive another one. Min turned to leave, but a young representative stood suddenly. Please wait. Can I ask you a question? Go ahead. The plague killed millions of my people because we could not produce the vaccine. Did humanity know that would happen when you left? The chamber fell silent. Everyone wanted to hear the answer. Min met the young representative's eyes. Yes, we knew. We also knew the council had 30 years to develop the capacity to produce that vaccine independently. We offered to train your scientists. The council refused, saying it was too expensive. Your leaders chose to depend on human charity rather than invest in their own capabilities. So you left anyway, knowing people would die. Yes, Mint's voice was steady. Because staying would have meant accepting permanent servitude for all of humanity. We made a calculation. Council suffering versus human freedom. We chose human freedom. That is cold. It is survival. Your leaders put us in an impossible position. They treated us as tools, not partners. When tools decide to leave, the user must adapt or fail. That is not cruelty. That is consequence. The representative sat down, tears in his eyes. Min walked to the chamber exit. The council has a choice now. You can keep trying to restore what was, or you can build something new. The Commonwealth stands ready to accept individual species as equal partners. We will never again accept a subordinate role. And if we choose to remain as the council, Vex asked, then you will continue to decline. Without humanity propping up your infrastructure, you must develop your own expertise. That will take decades, maybe longer. Many of you will not survive the transition. That is your choice to make. She paused at the doorway. Humanity does not hate you. We do not seek your destruction. We simply refuse to serve you anymore. What you do with that freedom is up to you. Captain Min left the chamber. Her ship departed the station an hour later, returning to Commonwealth space. In the council chamber, representatives sat in stunned silence. The data device Min had left sat on the podium, a small piece of technology that represented both hope and humiliation. Dove finally spoke. We have a decision to make. Do we continue as the council, or do we accept that this institution has failed? The council has existed for 3,000 years, Vex said weakly. We cannot simply abandon it. It has existed for 3,000 years built on inequality, a representative replied. Perhaps it is time for something new. The argument continued for hours. No consensus was reached. The council was fracturing further, splitting between those who wanted to preserve the old order and those who recognized its time had passed. Outside the station, stars shone indifferently. The galaxy did not care about the council's struggles. Life would continue with or without them. Humanity had delivered their message. Now the council had to live with the consequences of decades of arrogance and exploitation. The humans had departed silently, leaving behind only truth. 5 years had passed since humanity's withdrawal from the Galactic Council. The galaxy looked very different now. The council itself had fractured into 3 separate entities. The Alliance maintained the old hierarchical structure with only 7 species remaining. They controlled a fraction of their former territory and struggled with constant infrastructure failures. The Federation had reformed as a democratic union of 12 species, abandoning the Council's power structure entirely. And scattered throughout the former Council space were dozens of independent systems, each trying to survive on their own. Meanwhile, the Commonwealth had grown to 33 member species. Each had equal representation. Each contributed according to their abilities and received according to their needs. It was not perfect, but it was fair. De stood at the viewing port of her private vessel, looking at the stars. She was older now, her silver scales dulled with age. She had resigned from the Council's remnants 6 months ago, finally accepting what she had known for years. The old order was dead. Now she was traveling to Commonwealth space, not as a diplomat, not as a representative, as a petitioner. Her ship arrived at the border checkpoint, a human-operated station that processed applications for Commonwealth membership. She had submitted the people's application 3 months ago. Today, she would learn if it had been accepted. A young human officer greeted her at the docking port. "Counselor De, welcome. Ambassador Ho is waiting for you." She followed the officer through corridors that hummed with efficient activity. The station was busy but orderly. Different species worked together. their interactions casual and equal. It was the vision the council should have been. Ho met her in the same kind of conference room where they had spoken 5 years ago. He looked older too, touches of gray in his hair, but his eyes were kind. Counselor Duh, or should I say former counselor. Diz fine, I hold no titles anymore. Please sit, can I offer you refreshment this time? She smiled slightly. Yes, thank you, water would be appreciated. As Ho poured water from a crystal pitcher, De looked around the room. Through the window she could see construction on a new section of the station. Growth, progress, hope. Your people's application has been reviewed, Ho said, sitting across from her. Before I give you the decision, I wanted to speak with you personally. I understand. There were council members from the beginning. You have reasons to doubt our commitment to Commonwealth principles. It is not about doubt, it is about understanding. Tell me, Duh, why did you stay with the council for so long? You knew it was failing, you knew it was unjust, yet you remained until almost the end. She considered the question carefully. Loyalty, perhaps, or stubbornness. I believed the council could be reformed from within. I was wrong. When did you realize you were wrong? The day Captain Min delivered her statement. When she said the council was built on an unsustainable foundation, I finally understood. You cannot reform a system whose core principle is inequality. You can only replace it. Ho nodded. And your people, do they understand this? Most do. Some still cling to the old ways. But the majority voted for Commonwealth membership because they see no future in the past. The application process asks difficult questions. It requires species to acknowledge historical wrongs. How did your people respond to the question about their treatment of humanity? De pulled out a data tablet. I brought the full transcript. Every settlement held public forums. We discussed how our species benefited from the council's hierarchy, how we remained silent when humans were exploited, how we should have spoken up but did not. She handed him the tablet. These are not easy admissions. Many of my people felt shame, but we agreed that honesty was necessary. We cannot join a new alliance while pretending the old one was acceptable. Ho reviewed the documents. I see you personally at these forums. Yes, I told them about my meetings with you, about how humanity tried for decades to work within the system, about how the council's arrogance led to its downfall. Some did not want to hear it, but truth is more important than comfort. That is a very council-like attitude. Perhaps that is why the council failed. Ho set down the tablet. Your application has been approved. The people are accepted as Commonwealth members, pending a final ratification vote by your parliament. Relief flooded through Da. She had not realized how tense she had been. Thank you so much. Do not thank me. Thank your people for having the courage to change. That is not easy for any species. What happens now? Now comes the hard part. Integration. Your systems will need to be updated to Commonwealth standards. Your laws will need to align with Commonwealth principles. Your people will need to learn to work as equals with species they once considered subordinate. Are you ready for that? We have no choice. Our infrastructure is barely functional. Our economy is collapsing. Without Commonwealth help, my people will not survive another decade. That is survival pressure talking. I want to know if you are ready philosophically. If your people are joining the Commonwealth only to survive, they will resent the changes we require. But if they are joining because they believe in what we are building, they will thrive. The thought about this. I cannot speak for all, but I can speak for myself. I am tired, Ambassador Ho, tired of hierarchy, tired of politics based on power rather than principle, tired of civilizations that value some lives more than others. If the Commonwealth offers something different, I want to be part of it. Even if it means your species loses status. Status based on what? The ability to exploit others. That is not status. That is shame disguised as honor. Ho smiled. You have changed, duh. 5 years ago, you told me I was too loyal to the council. You were right, but watching it collapse taught me something. Loyalty to a broken institution is not virtue. It is cowardice disguised as duty. When did you become so wise? When I finally started listening instead of defending. Ho stood and walked to the window. The Commonwealth is not perfect. We have our own problems. Species still argue. Resources are not always distributed fairly. Some members feel we grow too quickly. Others feel we grow too slowly. But we grow based on consent. We make decisions democratically. When a species feels treated unfairly, they can appeal to the Commonwealth Assembly, and their appeal is heard by equals, not superiors. That is the difference. De joined him at the window. What happened to the others, the council species who did not apply for membership? Some survive independently. They form trade agreements with neighbors and manage adequately. Others are struggling, the Alliance particularly. They refuse to abandon the hierarchical model. Now they fight constantly over who should be in charge. And humanity's response? We offer the same deal to everyone. Accept our principles, join the Commonwealth. Reject them, face your future alone. We will not intervene to save those who cling to the old ways. That seems harsh. Is it? We spent 50 years trying to reform the council from within. It did not work. Some lessons must be learned through experience, not instruction. A thought occurred to Da. The technical information Captain Min gave us 5 years ago. It saved millions of lives across council space. Why did humanity give that to us when they owed us nothing? Because individual people do not deserve to suffer for their government's failures. We gave you the tools to survive. What you did with those tools was your choice. The Alliance used them to maintain their power structure. Yes, and they will collapse eventually. You cannot build a just society on unjust tools. They will learn this or they will fade into history. Da was quiet for a moment. I have one more question if you will permit it. Of course. Was it worth it? Leaving the council, I mean. Humanity suffered during the transition. You had to rebuild your infrastructure. You had to forge new relationships. Was all that struggle worth it? Ho turned to face her directly. 5 years ago, humanity was the council's most productive member and least valued partner. We built your technology, solved your problems, and received contempt in return. Now we are equals with 33 species who respect our contributions. Our economy has tripled. Our population is growing. Our people are happy. So yes, it was worth it. Freedom always is. He gestured to the window. Look out there. Do you see those ships? 12 species working together to build a new comm relay network. Not because they were ordered to, because they chose to cooperate. That is the Commonwealth's strength. Voluntary cooperation between equals. The Council demanded cooperation through hierarchy. We inspire it through mutual benefit. Which system do you think is more sustainable? Da knew the answer. She had always known it, even when she was defending the Council. I wish we had understood this sooner. Many things are clearer in hindsight. The important thing is that you understand it now. They stood together, watching the construction work outside. Ships from different species working in coordination. Engineers sharing ideas. Progress built on partnership. What will you do now? Ho asked, after your people join the Commonwealth. I am old. I have spent my life in politics. Perhaps it is time to rest. Or perhaps it is time to help build something new. The Commonwealth needs experienced diplomats, especially those who understand what does not work. Da smiled. Are you offering me a position? I am suggesting you are not done yet. You spent decades trying to reform an irredeemable institution. Now you have a chance to help build a better one. Are you interested? She looked at the stars, thinking about the long journey that had brought her here. From the height of council power to its collapse. From defending a broken system to seeking a new one. from arrogance to humility. "Yes," she said finally, "I am interested." "Good, because they will need advocates as they integrate. People who understand both where they came from and where they are going. You are uniquely qualified." As Des' ship prepared to depart, she took one last look at the Commonwealth station. It was not perfect, but it was built on a foundation of equality and respect. That made all the difference. Somewhere in distant space, the remnants of the Galactic Council still met, still argued, still pretended they mattered. Let them. Their time had passed. Humanity had departed silently 5 years ago, leaving the Council to bear the consequences of centuries of arrogance. Now those consequences were clear. The old order was gone. In its place, something better was growing. Not perfect, not painless, but better. And that, the thought as her ship jumped to, was enough.